Try to make the mics work for another minute before we give up and just go without. Right. So I'm going to call this meeting to order, and we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by our local Boy Scouts Logan Anderson and Daniel Park. Y'all would stand with me for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is one of the official hands from the city of Hernando. Thank y'all for that.
Lord, we come to you in prayer. We just thank you for this city that you blessed us with. We thank you for all the people in it, the community that we have. God, we just ask that you would give us the wisdom to continue to steward it and its funds and its community so that it continue to flourish. In Jesus' name we pray.
Can I have a motion to approve the
Mayor, I'd like to add one more session item to the agenda.
Okay.
So it'd be I guess we can put whatever, if you had new number 16, 16 becomes 17, 17 becomes 18.
Got it?
For discussion of text message alert system for the city.
Okay. Very timely. With that addition, is there a second to that agenda? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed no. The agenda is approved with the amendment. Item 5 is to approve the docket of claim numbers listed on your agenda. Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed no. The motion passes. Item 6 is to approve the minutes from the regular Mayor Board of Alderman meeting of May 19th.
Motion.
Is there a second? We'll have a roll call vote.
Alderman Kitchen,
Aye.
Alderman Piper,
Abstain.
Alderman McClendon,
Aye.
Alderwoman Lynch,
Aye.
Alderman Robinson,
Aye.
Alderman Wilkins.
And that motion passes. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed no. That motion passes. Item 8 is the introduction of new DeSoto County Economic Development Council staff. And while Jim Flanagan is coming up, I would like to say this is a mixed blessing. You're bringing us a good person to replace you, but we are certainly going to miss you. I think the changes you made to this county are evident everywhere we look. We really appreciate all you've done for us, Jim.
Thank you, Mayor and Board, and it is an honor to come before you tonight. And we are passing the torch to the DeSoto Council, but before we do, and before I introduce my successor, I just want to thank y'all for allowing us to serve you. This has been a privilege of a lifetime, and you've honored us, and we hope we've honored you. And with that said, I'd like to now introduce the new president, CEO, Billy Klauser. Billy is from Madison, and so he will be moving up in this area, and I promise you, you've got a new team that is going to take us to the next level, to take you to the next level, and to bring a new vision to both the city and the county. So thank you again to each one of you. Thank you. And I don't know if you want to say
Yeah, I appreciate Jim's laying the foundation for DeSoto County. It's one of the premier counties in the state, and I look forward to working with each and one of y'all, bringing economic development to this county. Thank you.
Thank you for stepping into the role, and I appreciate, Jim, again, we couldn't have been the county we are without you.
Thank you.
Thanks for all you've done, and you've got big shoes to fill.
I do.
But after meeting you the other day, I feel certain you're gonna do wonderful work.
Appreciate it.
I can't wait to work with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks again.
Thank you. All right, we will move on to the personnel document. I have a motion on that item. The motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. Item 10, Chief Barry, we got word back, as many of y'all know, a few weeks ago, the State Fire Rating Bureau came and did their 3-year inspection, and it's very important when that happens, and it's a lot of work from a lot of different people, the Public Works Department, the Fire Department, and others. Obviously, it's led by the Fire Department, and so we got our news back, so I want the chief to share.
Yeah, so when they come in, they check 4 areas, and they pretty much do an extensive inspection on the city. And with the building department, they'd go through all their codes, and since we updated our codes, that gave us a lot of points. On the fire side, they grade us on manpower, quick response, fire safety programs. On the water side, they check their upgrading our water lines, repairing hydrants, and the size water lines, what water we can provide to the buildings when we need them. And then dispatch is based off of the equipment we have and the manpower on what they can do to get us where we're going. And then all that comes together into one big score. And the score, they rate it 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, 1 being the best. There's not any ones in the state of Mississippi. What we got this time was a 4, and we were actually only 0.94 points away from getting a 3. So what that's gonna do is all residential houses and definitely commercial properties, y'all need to contact your insurance companies and let them know, because this will knock your insurance down. It's not gonna do a tremendous amount for residents, but it is gonna knock them down. But it's gonna be a big, big chunk for commercial properties.
Good work, Chief. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you guys for letting us get all this going and getting everything changed up, moving like we've been, so thank you.
I appreciate it. I do want to give a shout out to the board too, because all of the improvements that y'all made with the ARPA funds, the new water tower we're trying to get built, to the new water plant, and the upgrades to the other water towers, and the money y'all funded the fire department with, is why we got that new rating, so it's a big deal. All right. Item 11, more good news. We're here to recognize the Hernando High School Lady Tiger softball team for their accomplishments this year. So, first, they became the Region 1 7A district champions, and that's a big enough deal. Y'all have been sitting here anyway, right? Then, the 7A North half champions, and now the state champions for 2026. So, congratulations. Reading this very quickly, it says this is an honorary recognition for sports achievement from the city of Hernando. Hernando High School Lady Tiger softball team, led by Coach Nikki Whitten, 9-1 in the district, 32-5 overall. 2026 MHSAA Class 7A state champions. Great job representing the city of Hernando. And if y'all wouldn't mind, when we have famous people like y'all here, we want you to come up so we can get our picture taken with you. So if y'all would all come up and accept this recognition. Yeah, repeat next year, right?
Three, two, one.
Thank you. Public space improvements and retail recruitment. This was originated as a Mississippi Main Street grant, and because our city is a member of Mississippi Main Street, we were awarded or recommended by the state Mississippi Main Street for that grant that Gia helped write, or did write. And about 3 years ago, the state legislature approved the funding for it, and the governor signed it, and then something happened along the way and it got rescinded, and we are finally back to having it real for us this time. So I'm gonna let Gia give a brief description of what it's for. Of course, this board approved the match money for it 3 years ago, so not this entire board, but it was approved. And we'll let Gia tell us what it's gonna do for us real quickly.
It's a very exciting grant. It's a Mississippi revitalization grant. So it is to improve the downtown, to revitalize it, and we're going to use it for 3 different initiatives. One is for decorative street poles, which will also meet the standards of MDOT, so they will be reflective street poles, and they will improve all of the streets within the Main Street District, including the 5 historic districts. And each of those will also be identified on those street signs. So there's about 130 poles within the district. Also, the historic water tower is something that the community has been wanting to see improved, and we will be able to improve that with uplighting that we're working with Whitfield Electric. So we will be able to have lights throughout on the legs of the water tower facing up and around the barrel of that water tower, which will be able to be remote controlled. So we'll be able to light it for the holidays or light it up blue or anything we want within the city. And then the last use of that grant is a retail analysis platform called Placer AI, and we'll be able to utilize that to be able to see the benefits of our festivals, our foot traffic, our retail trade analysis, and other things that will benefit the businesses in the downtown for their strategic marketing plans and also for us for business recruitment.
If y'all aren't familiar with Placer AI, all of our phones are basically tracked by some big group. And they take all that data, and so when we have a big festival, they'll be able to say how many of those telephones were on our square and where they originated from. If they were from Alabama or England or wherever. So it helps us identify who our visitors are and how many of them there are. So that'll be a good tool for GIA to have, for us as a whole to know how our tourism efforts are working in the town.
Yes.
And we have 3 years to get this done? Or
2 years.
But we're going to get it done quicker than 2 years is our
Yes.
goal. And
Yes.
GIA has called the contractors that originally gave us the quotes, and they're ready to work with us, so we'll get rolling pretty quickly. So, are there any questions?
So would that come out of this year's budget or next year's budget?
It'll probably come out of next year's budget. Maybe a little of it out of this year's budget, depending on how quick we get moving, but it'll definitely, the bulk of the match will be in next year's budget.
Yes.
Is it coming from the general fund, or is it coming from the tourism tax, or where's it coming from?
If there's enough room in tourism, that's where we hope to take it from. And we are, just so y'all know, we are back up to about, we're actually bigger than we were before the Hampton burned. We're getting about, the last check was about $4,500 for the month, last month we saw. So that fund will start building itself back up in tourism, which is good news. Any other questions? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. Gia, thank you for all your work on that.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Item 13, Joe Frank, is to authorize to advertise for bids for the water main construction for the connection of the Byhalia Road water plant to the Madison Lakes elevated water tank. And go ahead, I'll let you give your description, Joe, and
Okay.
take questions.
Based on our correspondence from Health Department, we are allowed now to advertise for the water line that connects the Byhalia Road water plant to the elevated tank, which all you see right now is a foundation. We hope you'll see some more. We think probably somewhere along the line we've already approved to advertise, but we want to make sure that we get this on the record, that we go ahead and get started advertising. And if you remember back, that's We've applied and been approved for a loan of $951,000, so, for the project. And I think we need to keep on moving along with it.
And Ben, before you ask your question, that the payment on that loan would, we're supposed to be through with this project by the end of next April.
April. That's right.
And so the earliest the payments on the loan would start would be in May. I can't imagine I'm starting that soon, but we will be budgeting for at least pretty close to half a year in the next budget. We'll have to be taking into account the payment on that 20-year loan.
Out of the utility fund?
Out of the utility fund, yes. This is one of those loans where as we incur cost, and those, the next item is going to be one of the first cost. We write the checks, the city clerk will turn those in, and we will get the money reimbursed to us to put back in our account, but it's about a 45-day process after we apply. So really and truly, it's, the way it'll work, we'll be about 60 days behind on that. So that's where we are on that one. And that is going to really, Joe, can you give us in a nutshell what areas that having that water line connected between those tank and the well is going to really open up for development or help?
Okay. Yeah, it really opens up. Okay, I'm on here. Yeah, it definitely helps, and if you see the development up Getwell Road going north, obviously that's going to be a big help, which we already have developers running a line northward at their expense. So, and then between the water plant right now on Bayou Road, we only have a 3-inch line, so obviously that's going to help with the water pressure and fire protection through that area. And then we wind up with the new elevated tank, which will be kind of the north end, I guess, of the Jaybird Road water plant, which will give us the opportunity to move water between the plants if we have any kind of problem there. And then eventually go north up to Green Tea Road and back west over to boost our water service there, water pressure there, fire protection there, and wind up reconnecting to the Hernando system from Parkway plant to back that plant up. So it really does a lot in that area. And eventually we'll go under 269 there at Tullahoma Road and go up into that area in a future development.
The estimated completion date of the elevated tank?
That's a good question.
So I will say that the last schedule they gave us is not in time, and our attorney is taking some drastic measures tomorrow to prompt them to get it done on time. There's still time to get it done if they start soon.
Yes,
They're telling us it's not going to happen until November, which would mean we might lose our funding. So the attorney is very much on top of this right now.
Yep. All right. So if everything goes right, it's before the first of the year, we would be through.
But if it's after what date, when do we?
September 30th for the main ARPA money and August 30th for the match MCWI money. All right. Can I have a motion on that item?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no.
No.
And the motion passes. Item 14 is approval for the easement offer checks from the appraised values for the Byhalia Road waterline project.
Okay. Of course, between the plant and the elevated tank is about a mile, a little less than a mile, and we needed, I guess a little history on this, we needed some easements along Byhalia Road. We've been working on that, contacting the landowners. You authorized an appraisal from Bill Sexton Realty, which we have shown that appraisal to the 4 property owners. And we also have a review appraisal that we got in to confirm the first appraisal. And may have to ask our attorney if we are officially able to write a check now and obtain those easements. So
We are. We can.
so we're at that point to approve a check amount based on the appraisal, and I will take it to them and get them to sign the easement, and then we'll confirm with the health department that we've acquired the land that we need for that water line.
And have you shown the appraisals to the landowners and they're happy with them?
The landowners have seen the Bill Sexton appraisal.
Right.
They have, and I've not heard anything from them saying that they would not accept the amount that it was appraised for.
Any questions? Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. Thank you, Joe. Item 15 is an item that was tabled at the May 5th meeting. It's requesting board selection and approval for the increase of the city's match for the LWCF grant-funded project for the Milton Kirkendall Park lighting improvements. You've got the timeline of the events in here, and Jared is here to talk about it, and maybe some of the representatives from the Path Company.
Evening, everybody. So the memo here lays out where we were. The original proposed turnkey installation cost for this grant that was presented on the 5th, May 5th, was $480,896. The budgeted amount that we had worked up back in 2024 for this LWCF grant was $353,000. So we asked SiteLogic for some other options. So they have come back and presented an option A, which you have these differences in front of you on the chart. Option A, the big difference would be less fixtures, less number of fixtures. It would still be a 70-foot pole for all 4 poles, metal poles, and that overall cost would be $435,000. The city would be responsible for $235,000, which is an increase of $58,500 from the original budgeted amount. It's about a 54% to 50% grant, city to federal agency. Option B is has even less fixtures than option A, so going from 31 at the original option to 28 with option A to 24 number of fixtures for option B, and the pole height is 10 feet less, so 60-foot poles. That total price is $420,000. The city would be responsible for $220,000, which is an increase of $43,500, which is about a 52% to 50, whatever the other remainder would be, 48. So that's how that grant would shake out.
And Gia, you've spoken to the National Park Service, and they said when you make your decision, call us, but we feel like they're going to max out their match.
Yes.
Okay.
Page 3 is a budget that puts side by side what option A and option B would look like. The items in red are the difference between the two, so those aren't negative numbers, they're just calls out the difference.
Y'all have any questions for Jared or the representatives from PATH or comments?
So before, when we were talking about this, we talked about, we asked the question, does this need to go out for another RFQ? Mr. Pittman, would you mind?
Comment on it?
Yeah.
Yep. So we've talked about this a good bit outside of our meetings. This is under statute, Mississippi Code annotated 31714, which takes it out of your normal RFQ process. And so it's a kind of a special statute for energy saving efforts, and it's channeled a different way than your normal RFQs are channeled. So there's no need to republish or anything like that.
So under 31714, there are 3 different contract types. What would this be classified under?
I don't know.
Because they have different requirements.
Yeah.
I think it is 3 types.
Energy performance contract?
Performance?
I believe so.
Okay, so if it's an energy performance contract, then if I'm not mistaken, there has to be a guarantee of energy savings.
Yeah, that's a different question. I mean, that would be up for Jared to review that, when y'all to make that determination, and they can speak to that question as well.
Right. Because right now, the contract specifically says that there isn't a guarantee of it. It says it's been thoroughly reviewed and the diligently assembled or whatever, but there's no guarantee of energy savings. Is that something that y'all would want to speak on?
So typically with our...
Could you come up to the mic?
Yes, sir, I'm sorry. So typically with these sorts of projects, specifically sports lighting, it's not centered around the savings portion of the scope. But under that specific contract being an energy performance or energy savings, in the state of Mississippi, it has to pay back within 20 years. Our target and our goal for this project was, it is always to save you guys money, but from a savings perspective, this is not the overall goal of this project. With the sports lighting only being on, X amount of time versus, lights on in this building or a school. They're just not on enough. That demand is not at the height that it needs to be in order to really capture those savings.
Right. So I guess that's not really what I'm asking. What I'm asking, because at the end of the day, the energy savings are only like $700 a year or something like that. Recapture would be like 600 years for energy savings. But what I'm asking is there has to be a guarantee specifically. So for the performance contract. Now, there's also a services contract. If that's how you're classifying it, then there doesn't have to be a guarantee.
I believe, we wouldn't put a guarantee in there if we didn't have one for you guys. Now, if it's just performance, then I don't believe that there has to be any sort of guarantee or any sort of savings metrics in place that, Eric, you have to do this within X amount, or this has to pay for itself in X amount of years. We haven't had any sort of discussions like that.
I guess the question is what contract is it, right?
Right, well, exactly.
Performance.
How's it classified? Because because it has 3 different types. An energy services contract, it says there doesn't have to be a guarantee. For energy performance contract, performance is the operative word. And so you have to guarantee a performance. And so that's why you'll have the whole 19.8 years in there, which a little too on the nose, guys. For recapture, but that's kind of what I'm saying is like, I do think that for energy performance, y'all would have to give us a guarantee of some sort of energy savings. I don't know that it has to be I don't think all those things have to be from energy.
No, it can certainly be, the maintenance, the capital cost avoidance, things like that.
So that's my main thing in saying that is because, obviously we don't want this to be like a problem later.
This would for sure go under the energy services then.
Okay. An energy services contract.
Correct.
Okay. Now, another question that I have is, what of this would you say of the scope, what would you say is required?
What would be required? I think number one would be the poles, for sure, because the last thing we want to do for you guys is put nice new lights up on poles that you guys are going to have problems with. I don't even know the time frame of how much longer those poles have from a lifespan perspective. And then I think after that, it would be the conduit that runs from the controls to those poles to ensure that they work properly for a long, long time. And then those controls being number 3, or the electrical box at the panel to ensure that, you know, the use and reliability of that equipment remains true for years to come. But I would venture to say that that would be the order in the level of importance.
Okay.
But we didn't skimp on anything, and we certainly didn't add anything else that we don't
Right.
highly recommend.
Option B essentially is everything that's, essentially you would say that option A, it wouldn't be required to do option A, it would be, so.
Not at all. No, this is strictly preference for you guys on the pole height and the number of fixtures. I mean, there's really, I mean, from a performance standpoint, from option A, you're looking at obviously a little bit higher foot candle number, which just means your field's a little brighter. And then with the additional pole height, the aiming, I guess, options, for lack of a better term, there's not going to be as much glare on a higher pole than there would be a lower pole. So which I don't think there are a lot of residences other than the apartments on the south end of the field. So unless Miss Nancy in that apartment complains a lot about that she wanted to go to sleep at 8, but the field lights are on until 10, you know, that glare on the 60-foot pole is going to be a little bit worse than that 70-foot pole. We've had clients use both, and there's good and bad to both, but it's really up to you guys and how you guys want that field to perform and look and feel.
Would you say that the warranty is required?
It's included.
It's included?
Well,
at a fee?
With Musco. Well, it's built in to the equipment. So it's, I mean,
so
you can't get Musco without the warranty.
Gotcha, they just won't do it, essentially.
Correct.
So.
Broke it out there as an estimate, just so you can see.
Okay, gotcha. So it's like an assigned value to the warranty, essentially?
Correct.
Okay. Because the reason I ask is anything that, according to 31-714, everything that is under that statute has to be reasonably required. So I would think that we wouldn't be able to do anything that y'all wouldn't consider actually required.
Correct.
Okay, so we really can't go with option A.
I'm not sure I'm following you.
So my point is that the statute, if you're gonna do a project under this statute and not go through the normal bidding process, and what you have to do is, or everything that you get done under it has to be quote unquote reasonably required. So if you're saying that it's not all required, then you would say that essentially we couldn't go with any option which you don't deem to be required.
I think between the options, in some form or fashion, the newer poles are required. The new fixtures are required. But what's up to you guys when it comes to preference is the pole height. You're still getting new poles, whether they're 60 or 70 foot. You're still getting new fixtures, whether you get, 28 or 24, depending on the option. It's still very much required.
I guess what I'm saying is what goes above the what's required would be
I'll jump in here, I'll say the big thing to consider when you're going to the shorter poles is going to depend on how you anticipate the field being used. So the 60-foot poles, the issue that you'll run into with those is that as you're tracking a ball through the air, like a football, a sport where you're looking up to catch something, the angle of that 60-foot pole and that ball can line up perfectly sometimes and kind of blind you.
Right.
Compared to 70-foot poles. So,
right, and that's not really what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is, does what we're doing fall under, because basically 31-714, it gives you an exemption from reporting requirements. We're saying that we're able to only do an RFQ because we're meeting these standards. What I'm getting at is, does anything above option B actually meet those standards?
And I think it would be up to you, how do you determine the field being used? Do you think it's necessary to have those taller poles because there's going to be enough football there and other sports play there that's necessary?
I think on the size of the project, I think it's a no-brainer to do the 70-foot pole, 15,000.
70-foot poles are the standard option.
I think it's 80-foot poles out there now.
So it's.
And I'm not trying to cut you off, but I think you're asking them to make a determination that we are going to have to make as a board, not them.
Well, I'm really directing this at whoever can speak to it, really.
You ask a salesman what's the reason, they're gonna give you that.
Fair.
So that's a decision we have to make, and
Okay, I have some technical questions. So option A has 28 fixtures and 20-foot candles, which is a new word that I have learned. I did not know that. Option B has 24 fixtures, but it also gives the same amount, the same 20-foot candles.
That's correct.
Could we even drop down a few fixtures and still get 20? At what point do you lose the 20?
I don't know that exact cutoff mark. I believe they removed those four. They removed one fixture from each pole when they went down to the 60-foot option. I think because they're closer.
Okay.
They don't spread as much.
I would assume that if you have the same amount of fixtures on lower poles, that foot candle would go up, but then your cost is gonna be kind of splitting hairs at that point. So it'd
Yeah.
still be in between the two, but it would be close enough to where, you know, we might as well do the 70-foot with more fixtures and it'd be a more
Okay,
uniform look.
so okay, so we can't get more. Okay, now the foot candles on the track, does that mean that you're directing lights specifically to the track area?
Correct. There are going to be some that are either going to be aimed directly at the track or they will spread enough onto the track to provide additional lighting.
Okay, so I guess my question there is like, do we really need that? Because we have those fixed poles that seem to provide pretty decent lighting for the track area. So is that something we could cut out, or is that?
It is, I don't know how many fixtures that would really remove from our proposal. We kept that in there. I mean, when I was there to look at the track at night, the lighting there was not a ton from those extra poles. You would get up to 5 if you stood directly under one of them, but then it would get into 0 in between them. The
Okay.
track seemed to be pretty heavily utilized.
Yeah.
So that was something I wanted to make sure that we had.
Okay, and probably
Just
on the
because of-
curves is probably the darkest point.
Yes, correct. It was best, where the two existing poles are now for the field.
So on
Pretty
each track, the
dim.
dark spot will be in those deep curves, that's correct.
Okay, okay.
That's consistent.
What other questions does the board have?
So, last thing. Y'all assisted.
I believe you. Totally kidding, totally kidding.
Y'all assisted in putting together the original quote, correct? It was your company.
Correct.
So, and then we submitted for RFQ, we put it out advertising for RFQ under the scope that y'all gave. And then afterwards, we came back and it was higher, right?
Correct.
To me, that feels like a conflict, If a company helps us put together an initial quote and they set a scope, and then we put it out for RFQ based on that scope, and then we come back with that, and then that company comes back with a higher and much more expensive scope that might have attracted other companies.
Sure.
That does feel like a conflict, And that's just a general statement. It's not really something I expect y'all to answer, but unless y'all want to. So.
No, I mean, I totally understand your sense of, I would call it concern for sure, but that was, I don't know how long ago, that 2 or 3 years ago, and as I mentioned the last time we were here, that was before my time with the company. I was not involved in that study or that scope build out, but due to the past 2 or 3 years, equipment's gone up. Musco's raised their prices. Just I think with anything, along with the warranty, like things have gotten more expensive. And also, that was what we call our feasibility study. It's very much a high level, this is what it will likely cost, this is what it likely will save. None of those numbers are written in stone. And when we go into our investment grade audit, that's when we put real engineering dollars to it from both a cost and a savings perspective. And sometimes we find things that we didn't initially see in our half a day walk through the facility versus spending a month to sometimes 3 months on site, truly getting our hands dirty, boots on the ground for days on end. Sometimes things get missed in that half a day site visit versus a 3-month, audit phase with all kinds of boots on the ground all over the place. Plus, I think the scope may have changed, things may have been added, such as conduit, new poles, things like that, and that's also certainly drivers of that higher cost number.
And
But I completely understand where you're coming from.
And this isn't directed at y'all. I just.
No, I understand.
I have the more I think about it, the more I have a hard time understanding the real benefit of an RFQ process as a point to, as opposed to putting out for bids, really. I mean, we don't get as consistent numbers. We don't really get to actually get numbers from multiple companies. It's just, I mean, this is one person, but I would prefer just to put things out for bids if we can and not utilize the exception. That's just me.
I have one question if you're done. So your initial was 350,000. I think you come back at 480. I think the best case now is 420. How much of that miss did your company going to eat? How much y'all taking off your profit margin to help the city out here with your miss?
I would have to find that out for you. I don't have that information.
Did you take something off though? I mean,
Absolutely. Yes, I mean, I know that just based on the old number versus the new. But again, I wasn't a part of that, original assessment. This has been,
and like I said, we're not blaming you, but this is
Sure.
a pretty big miss. Y'all have done the project here at the Gale Center. You wasn't, and so far I think it's going pretty well. This is a pretty big miss. Somebody messed up somewhere at your company somewhere.
Sure.
And how much of that are y'all going to eat to help us kind of meet somewhere that's a reasonable number? And I just want to make sure that you're saying that you took some money out of that. I would
yes,
hope.
yes, absolutely.
Any other questions? Is there anyone here with the public that want to speak to this item? Any more questions or concerns from the board? If not, is there a motion?
I guess I have one more question for you.
Yes, sir.
If we approve this tonight, will this impact this year's budget, or is this something that may carry over into October of next year?
How long till y'all get this project finished?
Around 5 months. 3 months of that is equipment lead time, so that's about 2 months for install.
That's because I remember the last time I talked to Jared, we were thinking that it would probably roll into, part of it into next year.
So maybe we could hit a payment or two, could hit next year's budget to cover the difference.
That's what we were hoping for, yeah.
And what do you think about the whole requirement thing?
Requirement of what?
The wording in the statute about whatever we do under this statute have to be reasonably required.
Yeah, I think what the point that was made. Get this on for a second.
You're on.
Alderman Kitchens, I think the point that was made by one of the other aldermen and by these gentlemen is that it's what the city requires. And what do you want? I mean, what do you, I mean, your point was, your point is if there's a lower option, then the higher option is not required.
Yeah.
That's your point.
Well, yeah, so I do think it seems like there's some leeway on the city as far as like what they can demand of the contractor to be reasonably required, but I also wonder if, I mean, at the end of the day, the statute is supposed to put guardrails on the city too, because we're getting to use a RFQ process because we fit these requirements, so.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think, trying to answer your question, again, it would be nice to know some of these questions before we get to the meeting, if you want me to research some of these questions you're going to have.
Yeah.
That's a question, that probably I could spend hours looking at, trying to find that answer to that question, but I believe what has been said today is the right answer, is that what's reasonably required. I mean, what do you want at that park? You could go, obviously, a lot bigger. I mean, I'm sure there's no limit on the type of
I think, and
lighting
I
you
don't
could
know
have.
how the board's feeling right now, but I think you can look at it at both options. I think if you wanted option A, there's some question about, do we want guys playing football or girls playing football to lose the ball in the lights with a lower pole? Do we want the neighbors to catch more light in their windows with the lower pole? Those are reasons that you would get the taller one after what I've heard from them say. So those, I think, would be necessary if the board so deemed it.
Alderman Kitchen, so I think those are all great questions, obviously. Those are very good questions, and this is a different statute that's being utilized for these projects. And so you're advocating a straight bid. We're not there at this point.
Yeah,
So I think
obviously we're past
that,
that with this project.
we're way down the road on this, but to answer your question, I believe, it would be my opinion that what's reasonably required is the scope that the city wants to see happen out there at that site. Okay.
Sorry to spring that on you.
That's okay. I'm just
I've
trying
peppered you with questions
trying to
about
answer
stuff
the
all week.
question. Well, it's hard for me to tell, really, if it's a performance contract or a service contract, it doesn't really say, but,
They didn't specify in the contract, but I feel like this is absolutely a service contract.
yeah.
I guess that's just part,
Well, then there's two different things like you make a point of, because it's supposed to be a performance, overall, energy savings performance
Yeah.
company.
right,
To save energy for the city. So that's a performance issue in my mind,
yeah,
overall.
yeah,
Then you get into the specifics, but the contract doesn't say.
yeah. And it's a little ambiguous too, because you have elements where they say there's no guarantee, but then you also have elements where they make the effort to shoehorn in to make it sure that the recaptures within 20 years, within 20 years, so. it's hard to-
Exactly.
I do think some of the spirit behind the statutes are around, the idea that you're going to have retrofitting of incandescent to LED, right? That's kind of like the performance part of it. And from an energy services standpoint, there's so few companies that operate in that space that you may have some that would bid on it if it was an open bid situation, and they're down in like Gulfport, but they're going to come up to Hernando to do some sort of energy services deal. And so the lack of relationship that you have with companies that are so spread out could ultimately hinder what kind of service the taxpayers get. And I think that's like that's just my opinion in like how I understand why these statutes are there, and like what the spirit of them is. But we could debate that for however long, yeah.
But the initial question you posed at the last meeting was it necessary to publish again? The answer to that question is no. But the other questions, I think I've answered. I think my answers to you, I can probably stand on those. I feel good about those answers.
If there are no other questions, would someone proffer a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the increase of city matching funds for Kirkendall Park with option A.
Is there a second to that motion? Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. There's a motion and a section, and a second to option A. Could I have a roll call vote, Madam Clerk?
Alderman Robinson?
Aye.
Alderman Wicker?
No.
Alderman Kitchens?
No.
Alderman Piper? Alderman McClendon? No. Alderwoman Lynch?
Okay. Aye.
And I think that throws it to me, doesn't it?
Played that just right, didn't we?
I wasn't even thinking about voting tonight.
I didn't.
Although I'm going to be part of having to work on where the funds come from, I think I'm going to vote aye on that one, and that motion will pass. All right. Thank you all very much.
Thank you all so much.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 16, which is very timely and something we've been talking about internally for the last few days. We're going to talk about some sort of a messaging system to the public. And I know that Stephen and I have been talking about it, and Deputy Chief Landfear was talking to me about it earlier, and Deborah Rosenberg, and I'm going to put them all in a room, but Alderman Piper, if you would go ahead.
Yeah, I think that it's something I think we've all, kind of discussed here and there over the course of time. Obviously the Sheriff's Department, the county uses a messaging system to let people know, hey, we're replacing a cross drain on Wheeler Drive, so just so you know, traffic may be affected. Same sort of thing when we're doing paving on Mount Pleasant to give people a heads up, hey, there may be some delays there, so you may want to avoid Mount Pleasant today.
Yeah, especially when you're going to Vacation Bible School.
Especially when you're going to Vacation Bible School,
The
because
Methodist Church.
I mean, Jesus is going to be there when you get there, but you don't want to be delayed. But whatever it is, we've got a water. Obviously, we had the water outage that affected several neighborhoods over the weekend, and it was something that wasn't a planned repair. Planned repair, certainly we can get those out first thing in the morning. I just don't. I think that I know that we've utilized social media and Facebook and some of these other things, but some people just don't have those. But, what they do have, they get a text message, they probably read it fairly quickly. More so than just, I don't just sit and scroll on my phone all day long on Facebook, so I may not see like those announcements. So I think we need to take a look as we're starting to look at, I know the conversation's already happening about next year's budget. Even though it doesn't start until October 1st, we have to have it approved by September 15th. That's only, three months away. We need to go ahead and, put something in there because it may be a huge expense. It may be a,
Well, we actually, when we were looking at the dispatch earlier tonight, I asked Deborah about it because she brought it to us a couple of years ago, if y'all remember, and I guess we couldn't find room. She said it was about $11,000 a year. Yeah, a year. Oh. Oh, that was a 3-year okay, even better. Okay. So actually, that's better. And anyway, especially in light of recent
There are
weather.
various options. Some are good, some are worse, some are better. If they are going to be that inexpensive, I am asking my staff to put their brains together along with me and us come up with which one we would put forth to y'all. But if they are going to be less expensive, you might see us bring it to you before the next budget because we have a lot of need for it.
Yeah, I didn't know what it would cost. I didn't know if I'm sure there's all kind of options of how many users you have that can send messages out. And will it just be department heads? Will it be the mayor? Will it be whoever? We don't want to give Bruce access, and he sends out Hail State to everybody after Mississippi State wins a baseball game or something. We don't want that, obviously.
She said,
I don't know.
She said there's a limited number of admins, that's part of the fee, but the number of users that receive the messages is unlimited, so.
Okay.
Yes, Stephen, please.
Through my research from this.
I'm on, it's your first time, come on up.
It's, I would have put something together a little bit more formal for this, but pretty much what you're looking at is the pros and cons of these systems. It's AI is what we really want to go for, okay? So the AI is going to work on a two-pronged approach. It's going to take your voice over IP phone system, which is what we have right now answering our phone calls. And then you have your public address system or your warning messages out to your public. The downside to what other cities are using now, it's a sign-up service. So someone has to literally go to an app, sign up for the app, download it, or ask to be input into something. The technology now is based upon utilization of your water bills or any kind of customer information that we have. That way, we're still in control of that information when it's to be pushed out. So the cheaper platforms are utilizing the sign-up services. So we need to make sure, if we're going to do that, in my opinion, that we're using the one that gives us the most impact to the most people, so we can let them know that water pressure is just, going to be up. But it also, the second part of this, which is going to drive the cost up, is going to be the ability to help answer these phone systems on the weekends. When we had a water outage this weekend, we had people calling Public Works, leaving voicemails. That voicemail's not going to be answered till Monday morning. So you have a lot of people being not taken care of, in my opinion. So the voice over IP can answer that phone and also have a message that we tailor how to respond, so they get a trouble code. They're put in a loop. So there's all kind of ways to look at it other than just a public address type situation. But in my opinion, I think we need to look at one that gives us more of the driver's seat of who's getting it and what they're getting, and then also maybe fitting it for our city as far as people being able to communicate with us better.
Thank you.
That's good.
And just as an aside and an attaboy, when those phone calls were coming in on Saturday, Denise Harden actually went to the office and answered a lot of them. So we appreciate her for being Johnny on the spot for that. So Ben, thank you for bringing that up tonight. I think it's a great discussion, and we are going to continue it post haste. So perfect. All right, item 17 is the appeal of a water adjustment by Susan Guzman. Is Ms. Guzman here? Ms. Guzman is not here. Okay. What I know about the appeal is that she has had, I think the appeal was based on the fact that, or the denial was that she had had 2 in 1 year. And the policy that the staff has to work on says only 1's allowed in a calendar year. The board can't override that, but we can as a staff, so we couldn't just put it on the utility adjustment docket. So even though she's not here, if y'all want to consider it, it looks like the amount of the adjustment's $119.56, but the staff had denied it because it
What I
didn't fit the
understand,
criteria.
it's like June of 2025.
It's coming up close, yeah. I'm not against it, I just didn't, we didn't have the authority to do it. And she's not here.
I think she legitimately had a break.
Yeah, oh, yeah, she had a break. So, yeah, if y'all want to make a motion to approve it, that would be great.
I'll make a motion to approve the
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes.
To adjourn?
I got one more thing.
Oh, all right, informational only.
Information.
Okay.
Information. We're moving to McInville Road tomorrow, so
For paving,
bear with us.
yes. All right.
What section of McInville you did? I can't remember.
All the way from Commerce to
Yeah, over by Walmart.
city
Yeah,
limits.
Commerce to the roundabout.
Yep,
The roundabout on the south end.
yep.
Yeah, great.
Use Jaybird.
All right, there's a motion and, is there a second on the adjournment?
Second.
All in favor say aye. We are now adjourned. Thank y'all.